going on, people? Welcome to the DualShockers ShockCast number 165. I am your host, Tony Polanco, here with Ryan Meisler.
Watch Dog.
And of course, George Jimenez.
Today's ShockCast is brought to you by Samuel Adams. That's it.
The beer of all beers. We got no David because he's sicky, and I'm actually your permanent host from now on. Get used to this fucking face. All right, George, hit us with those new game releases.
All right. So for the week of March 10th to March 14th? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Let's go with it. We're going with Dark Souls, the Xbox 360 and PSN, Titanfall, Xbox One, PC, and 360 at some point.
March 25th, people.
Oh, you know what? I actually pulled the wrong list.
Uh-oh. You fucked up, didn't you?
Yeah, I fucked up.
Okay, what else is coming out? We could just random shot it because we got Titanfall, we got Dark Souls, we got fucking.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure 41,784 games did not come out this week. So it's like,
oops. You let the guy who's been drinking do work, and that's what
I'm like. Yeah, Uncharted 2 showed up. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that didn't come out this week.
Yeah, that didn't come out this week.
Whatever, guys. My game of the week is going to be Titanfall.
Yeah, all right, that's your game of the week. My game of the week is going to be Atelier because I'm playing it for review. That's all I'll say about that. Brian, what about you?
Not Titanfall because I have no idea what else came out this week. So.
All right, speaking about Titanfall, George, tell us about Titanfall.
Yeah, I reviewed Titanfall. Long story short, it's pretty good, surprisingly. There was I played the beta, and my impression with it, I left very positive from it because I didn't know what to expect from Titanfall, and the beta was kind of almost like the coming out party for Respawn, saying like, "Hey, look, it's a real game and it works." How about that?
Yeah, it works. It works. That's the most important part because people were kind of worried about that.
Most importantly, launch day, it worked.
Nice.
People were apprehensive, thinking, "Oh no, what if we get another Battlefield 4 situation?" I even had a nice little George note in my review saying like, "Hey, I played a pre-release copy, meaning I got it there or so in advance, so I got to play on nice servers that worked. But I also waited for the midnight release, so I played again at like 1 a.m. because I was thinking, all right, East Coast people are just waiting to pick up their copy at GameStop, probably some long lines, so 12:15 they're probably out of the store. They got to drive home, wait for mom to pick them up, or take a bus or mass transit. So I'm like, 12:45, 1 o'clock, that's when the big congestion is going to happen. And boy, was I right, because 1:05, I joined the game, immediately booted, and I was like, fuck all. And then I joined another game, and it was super laggy, and I was like, oh no, this is not going to be good.
Oh, man.
I played for about another hour pretty smoothly. So it was I guess it was just that spike initially of like, there's so many people, this cloud cannot handle it. But it turned out it did, and it's fine. I did have one problem. I couldn't get into like private parties. And
okay.
And then I was told that it was patched this morning, and now you can get into private parties. So right on.
Was there any big difference between the beta and the real version of the game that you noticed?
Visually, not really. I heard the resolution is a little bit higher on the beta, and some texture details were kind of improved. But the thing is, when you're in the middle of a Titanfall match, there's so much going on and so many things blowing up, you kind of don't have that much time to like stop and smell the roses. Even though I do recommend you do that at least once if you're playing it, is just sometimes just look up and just see what's going on above your head. Because we mentioned and we kind of broke the story about there's monsters in this game. And we're like, what? So I did one of the stages where there were just flying pterodactyls that would swoop down and pick up your NPC soldiers and like eat them.
Whoa, like actual pterodactyls, not like robot pterodactyls or anything?
The level is called, in the campaign, is called Here Be Dragons, and they're fucking giant winged beasts that just swing by. Your Titans can shoot them down if you want.
Sweet.
It was pretty cool. And there's another stage where just kind of these big, long-legged beasts that are just kind of roam around the map.
So, robots, explosions, pterodactyls, I'm already sold on this game. So.
Yeah. I'm not even a multiplayer-only guy. I'm like, this sounds pretty fucking cool. But what I wanted to ask you specifically was, like, are there any new modes, more levels in the real version? Like, that's what I mean in terms of difference.
Modes. There's last pilot standing. The big three that were there were the attrition, which is kind of like, it's deathmatch, but it's point-based, meaning whatever you kill takes away a point from the other team. So that's including like the NPC soldiers that run around. So, which is good if you kind of suck, but you still want to help. You just kind of go and farm the NPCs that are running around the map. that at the halfway point they just kind of drastically improve or turn into robots. I don't quite know what happens there, but they do become more difficult as the match continues. But like I said, if you're just terrible, you just kind of farm it, wait till your Titan to drop, and hopefully you'll kill someone.
Yeah, right. Maybe you'll get lucky.
But the good thing about Titanfall is it's very accessible. I kind of feel like it. I mentioned in the review. People are just saying, "Oh, it's Call of Duty with mechs," which is not entirely a bad thing. But I feel like this game is a little bit more approachable than Call of Duty because, like, I was playing last night and there was already a guy who did their equivalent of prestiging.
What?
And he had 30 hours of gameplay. I was like, who? I'm like, you are not a journalist. Like,
yeah, that's insane. Like, was he able to carry over his stats from the beta? How the fuck do you do that?
No. None of your stats carry over from the beta. I had to do my training all over again. So this was earned. He was playing for a few days. I'm like, what GameStop manager are you that just kind of lifted your copy early?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, you know what? Like. And he was a party with a bunch of high-level people, but you know what? My team sort of kind of held our own, considering a bunch of 1s and 5s were doing okay, and a lot of that comes with just kind of the default classes are just kind of like they're good, just all around. The default class can hold your own. Like they had the cooler kind of custom classes. They had like special perks, and their guns were more shiny, and they did other things, but at no point did they really like pull ahead. I think we faced them twice. They beat us with a fairly big margin one match, and the second match we won, and that was fairly close. So, yeah, considering like two guys on my team had no idea we can wall run.
Yeah, man,
which is great. So, and I'm seeing that because usually in one of those games that makes like a Call of Duty or even like a Battlefield sometimes, it's something if you're not there week one, you're behind.
Yeah, exactly.
You win a match just because people are triple prestiging or they're so high ranked that they've unlocked everything, and you just have this gun that doesn't, it's like, nope, you don't stand a chance. You have to just take your licks, and hopefully you'll get there. This one just seems that you can just kind of hold your own fairly early. That those burn cards are kind of like these throwaway cards that you can use per life that'll give you some sort of boost. So it's like, hey, you get to run 50% faster until you die, or here's a super upgraded version of your current shotgun. This should hold you up. So if you start noticing you start getting your ass kicked a lot, just whip out, use a burn card and see what happens. But no, I'm liking it so far. My review should be going up sometime today. It'll probably be live tonight, or by the time you listen to the podcast, it'll be up. But yeah, I really dug it.
And you think the hype is warranted, right?
I think it is warranted. I mean, I don't think it's the be-all, end-all of all video games. I do think it's the best shooter on the market right now.
Yeah.
And, it did it, and doesn't like, it didn't reinvent the wheel. It just kind of added spinners and just, chain threads and like little spike kneecappers. Like,
there's nothing wrong with that, though.
Yeah, I mean, you play it, you do get that sense of like guys who made Call of Duty made this game. Just in the way just the combat flows and just when you're in close quarters or not fighting in Titans, it does have a very Call of Duty vibe to it, but just less twitchy. Just because some people don't die in one shot, you can cloak out of things, you can use stims and bring your health up and boost around. Like there's a lot going on, and and Joel best described it as like you just imagine just having a seizure every match because there's those moments where you look out and like, oh my god, those two guys just dropped 2 Titans and that Titan did his nuclear thing, and missiles, look out! And then their NPCs is running around waiting to be shot, which is great. But
yeah.
But
I was gonna say, like, with from what you played of the game so far and everything, do you think that like Titanfall is going to be kind of like a flash in the pan, like get really popular really quickly since it's a big next gen release now? Or do you think it is something that like come October, November might have more of like a? Do you think it's going to be like a long term kind of game where a lot of people will be playing it for a while? You think?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's valid. I think it's got legs to kind of stand on its own, because when you start thinking of like, I know for a fact this is gonna kind of replace my 15-minute a night multiplayer game that most people have, which is usually a Call of Duty or a Battlefield.
Right. Yeah.
And considering that Battlefield is still kind of broken, like.
My luck is it's still pretty broken. So.
Yeah, my luck is just be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, my luck is usually 50-50 with Battlefield. Like some nights it works just fine, and some nights I'm just like I can't get into a match, and I know there's people playing. Like there's a couple million of these Xboxes, and I'm pretty sure everyone, a lot of people bought Battlefield, so someone's got to be playing this.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's gonna replace that. I think it's gonna replace whatever current shooter you're on next gen. Titanfall is taking it over, just because the party system when it worked it was. Excuse me, too much beer. But when the party system worked, it worked fine, and it was, I forgot what it was like to play games with friends again. And that's maybe really important considering like the match sizes are 6 versus 6 or a little bit more intimate, and you do feel like you're pulling your own weight in there, or like you're contributing to something. Because in Battlefield there's 60 people on screen, so if you kind of sit around and not do anything, you can still kind of win or lose and just like whatever, you can kind of shrug your shoulders at it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean if you start slacking in Titanfall, like, people are going to notice and call you on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because there's so few of you there, so yeah, it kind of makes sense.
And
yeah.
And like I said, you make that decision early, like, hey, I suck. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to farm these guys so I can call down my Titan quicker. And then maybe I can be helpful.
Yeah.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to say anything else, Ryan, before we move on?
No, that's good. That was my big question about it, because just like there's so much hype around the game, and it's like the big Xbox One release so far, and that's just the kind of thing I was wondering, was whether like it's something that like come the holidays like people will still be caring about, still playing, or if it's just going to be popular for like a month or two and then people kind of forget about it. But
yeah, definitely. All right, so the big thing that happened was they released a couple of videos of Watch Dogs. It's not looking that good, is it?
Don't you feel like there's going to be a video every week about Watch Dogs? Like, now that we have a release date, I feel like we're just going to be bombarded with like trailers, and resolution gate withstanding, I didn't think that story trailer looked that good. Like, there were, we knew so little about that game's plot. And then when we finally did, I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, I actually have a theory as to what happened with the graphics, because I was talking to some people on Twitter, and they were like, oh, yeah, the one we saw at E3, that was the PC version. That's why it looks that good. That's why the console versions don't look that good. I don't think that's what happened. I honestly think what we saw at E3 is smoke and mirrors. And people listening, call me out on this if I'm wrong. I believe that when we see the actual PC version, the one that people will actually play, I don't think it's going to look that good. And this is why. What we saw at E3, it was just a little piece of the city. It wasn't the entire game. It was just that
little slice, yeah. Oh, we lost Tony.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Whole open. It's going to take a hit.
I love that he froze like this.
He froze like this.
Oh, I froze, okay.
How big?
Yeah.
I can't control that. But yeah, that's what I think. I think when we see the actual PC version, it's not going to look that different from the PS4 version, which is mostly what these videos have been showing us. Because there's no way, I mean, it's night and day how different the game looks now. So that's what I think is happening. Whether this isn't talking about gameplay, but I don't know how the game's going to play. I'm just talking about graphics. So I honestly believe the PC version will not look that good. That's what I think.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the whole downgrade gate, or as David called it, downgrade gate? Go ahead.
I always keep my expectations in check, because like I remember with The Last of Us when they showed that at E3 and they did that stage demo, and they had all this stuff that they showed off, like Ellie throwing bricks at enemies and stuff like that, and then when the final game came out, none of that was in there. That they just had that kind of stuff in there.
True.
They had that stuff in there for the E3 demo, so that's why I kind of like keep my expectations in check a little bit with stuff like that. So the Watch Dogs stuff doesn't really surprise me. Especially given how after it was delayed, from coming out in November, then it's kind of gone quiet and they haven't been showing as much of it. So, I'm just kind of waiting until it comes out to make my final judgments on it and all that. So.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of watchdogged out, so it's like any news that I watch, I'm like, is the game out? Because then I don't care.
It was it was one of those games where like when they revealed it a year or two ago or whenever, like they showed like so much of it at the time, and now all of a sudden it's just kind of like dropped. They haven't really shown as much of it, so it was like one of those things. I think they were just showing way too much of it at the very beginning, and now as it's nearing closer, it's just kind of like they're not really showing enough. When they probably should have gone the opposite way, but.
Yeah, a little bit of a BioShock Infinite situation. It showed so much, and then it just went away.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, it's just interesting what happened. So, I mean, and we even Giuseppe put up a couple of videos of comparisons and stuff, and it's just not looking that great.
You can clearly see in the lighting, and it's like, the lighting's been downgraded, a lot of the shadows and stuff. So maybe, like I said, maybe what we saw at E3 was just like a super PC version, meaning like. The consoles can't even do this. Most PCs aren't even. We need just the flashiest thing we can show someone to like introduce this game to the world. Or
I agree.
Later on, they showed us something that was similar. But yeah, I had someone ask me earlier. It's like, oh, do you think this is kind of like an Aliens Colonial Marine situation? I'm like, I don't think it's the same way. This seems more like a marketing kind of thing, where maybe they're just kind of slowly showing what the game really is going to look like subtly. It's like, hey, let's kill some shadows in this trailer, and then we'll gradually kill that lighting, because what we wanted to put initially will destroy PS4s and Xbox Ones, so or NPCs. So I don't know. I have the more wait and see approach for Watch Dogs.
Yeah, it does have a release date now, people, May 27th. And yeah, I think you're totally right about that. And they actually put out 3 screenshots today. I'm like, those aren't screenshots. This is like heavily doctored screens. Like, what are you doing?
Well, yeah. No, I was gonna say for the release date, because the release date is for all the versions except the Wii U, right?
Except the Wii U, yeah. The Wii U is to be determined. We don't know when that's coming.
It's not coming out.
So yeah, if you're a Wii U only owner, don't hold your breath. We don't know when that fucking game's coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Wii U owner, you weren't getting a Wii U to get Watch Dogs. You were getting a Wii U to play Donkey Kong or some, like Smash Brothers. Like your Wii is your secondary system. That's
yeah. Let's just be honest. It's a secondary system.
This is your second system. The way the Wii was everyone's second system. You had an Xbox, a PS3, and a Wii though. You had one or the other, but you also had a Wii, because just in case,
Yeah, exactly.
It'll surprise you, and you're like, oh crap, how can I not have a Wii to play Mad World? Holy shit, let me run and do this. Like,
yeah, who is the person that only has Nintendo? How do you survive in this gaming environment? That's interesting right there. No, I only buy Nintendo, and that's it.
I've known a couple of people who only own just Nintendo consoles, because no.
Yeah. Back in the 90s, it was fine.
I've known people that just have a Wii, and they were just like, no, I'm happy with this.
Wow.
I mean, honestly, if I just had a Wii and Smash Brothers, I'd be okay. I'd be totally fine on just that, so...
I don't know, man. I remember one time I went to Applebee's and the guy was like, hey, I heard there's a new Batman game coming out. Is it coming out for the Wii? I'm like, no. There's no Batman games coming for the Wii, my friend. Get yourself a real system. That's exactly what I told him.
We got the Armored Edition on the Wii U.
Yeah, the Wii U, yeah. This was when the Wii U wasn't even, invented yet. This was way, way before that. So, yeah, we'll see about Watch Dogs. I mean, I'm still interested because I like Ubisoft and I like open world games, and it seems interesting with the whole hacking thing. But, yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm a little tapped out. I don't need to see Watch Dogs.
I'm a little tapped out. I think the more I'm learning about the plot, I'm just kind of like, oh, fucking kill me. They killed my wife, and I've got.
Yeah.
I heard the term, and it made me so happy when I heard it was an iPhone Batman.
iPhone Batman? Okay.
What Eden is, he just walks around and fights crime with an iPhone. I think the ultimate fear is, and I think we've been saying it for a while, is that this is going to be kind of like an Assassin's Creed. It's like this is a proof of concept, some cool foundations, but the story and everything else is going to be kind of bleh. But Watch Dogs 2 is going to be amazing. I'm going to say that with certainty. You heard it here. Watch Dogs 2 is going to be great.
When it comes out in 2016, 2017, it'll be good, yeah.
Well, if it's like Assassin's Creed, it'll be out in 2015, right? Actually, no. Yeah, 2015.
Turn it right out.
Yeah, that's true. Part 2 will be amazing. All right, moving on. The PlayStation Now, we may have gotten a little hint of what it's going to cost. Now, I actually wrote an editorial about this. One of the first editorials I wrote for the site. I assumed they were going to do a tiered thing. Like you pay this much.
Yeah, like a subscription of some sort.
It doesn't seem like that. It's like this was like The Last of Us was like $49. Another game was $9.99. A couple other games were like $14. I'm like, so you're gonna have to pay for each game individually? Is that how it's gonna work now? That seems a little. I don't know.
There were rumors about them doing a subscription model, and I imagine they probably will. But again, we don't really know for sure yet what they'll do. But I mean, I don't really know.
So let's say I have my PlayStation Now subscription, and let's say you see The Last of Us for $49.99. So does that mean for that $49.99, I can play that on my Sony TV or my Vita and like my Xperia phone? That's
what you would assume, right?
Is this going to be like a cross-buy, or do we not know that much information yet?
No, they said that it's going to be
pricing, and was like, oh, what does that mean?
That would be stupid if it was like, okay, you got to pay this much for the Vita, this much for the PS3, this much for the PS4, this much for your PC. That'd be
no, they dumb. Can't. Yeah. They can't do something like that
because it's retarded.
they gotta keep it as simple as they can, especially for something because that's the beauty of something like Netflix, where Netflix you just pay the monthly fee and then you can use it for any device anywhere you want. So if they do that, then it's just going to be splintering their market way too much by trying to do that.
So I'm pretty sure it's going to be, you pay like $49.99, you get it on every PlayStation system you have. I'm pretty sure that's going to work. The fact that it's individual pricing, if that's what it
that's strange.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, Why would you do that?
I'll be curious to see what they're going to talk about at GDC because they're unveiling there's some hot scoop going on at GDC that even Shuhei is going to be there, and he doesn't just kind of show up to be like, hey man, we're cranking out some RAM.
Yeah, no, you're not going to fly a dude from Japan just for that bullshit. Yeah.
So, they'll probably unveil that whatever VR thing they're working on, or maybe they'll talk a little bit about Now. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they got deep into the Now service, and because I'm curious. Because I mean, to me, I think that's really exciting, and I like that idea. Like, if I can pay like $19.99 a month to play like PS2 games or access to PS3 games, that'd be amazing. But
yeah, totally.
But if we know our Sony, and I think we do, is when they first introduce a new idea, they have no idea how to price it. Like,
yeah,
hey, this PS3, $600, thank you.
Like, get a second job, people. Oh, that was ridiculous. All right, let's move on to some gaming news. I'm going to throw a couple of things in here that are in the show notes. The Witcher 3 has been delayed until February, and again, good. If the game needs to be delayed to polish it up, do it. I'm all for that.
Though? If you tell me the reason is polish, I'm okay with that.
That's exactly what they said.
Is that what they said? All right, fine.
That's exactly what they said. This isn't a Rayman Legends situation where it's like, we're going to delay it.
I just don't want it to be like, hey, it's like, hey, we got, they're trying to hit their deadlines and something, and it's like, they want to hit a May deadline. They're like, yeah, that's not going to happen, dude. Sorry.
No, it's not the case. They said, the game is so big, so expansive that they need more time to really polish it up. Which is fine. There are so many games coming out this year. I don't mind this.
Like, can we just do like an early access thing on PC and be like, I'll play it broken. I don't care. Dude, I will play it broken. I'm totally okay with that.
Were you looking forward to it?
Oh man, I love The Witcher. The Witcher is by far one of my favorite RPGs ever, and they do moral choices the right way, where there's no scale. It's just, look, these are choices and these are fucking consequences. There's no good. There's no bad. Your guy, if you want to role play him as a good guy, good luck finding a good decision. But
yeah, I was gonna say I'm okay with the delay because I just bought Witcher 1 and 2 on sale a couple weeks ago, so now it gives me time to play through those. So I'm good with that. So
I mean, even if you want to skip Witcher 1, even though Witcher 1's not bad and your save will carry over for Witcher 2, definitely get the Witcher 2. Witcher 2 is just amazing. By just looking at it, like when you're playing Witcher 2 on, and I'm guessing on the PC, right?
Yeah, it was on 360 as well.
Yeah, it's on 360, and it's not a bad port on 360 either.
Yeah.
But when you look at it on PC, you kind of sit there and like, this looks kind of next gen-y. Like those graphics are no joke on Witcher.
Yeah, they look pretty nuts.
Just good.
And go ahead.
So long.
Yeah. So but it's fine. Delay it as long as it comes out well. I just hope there's not going to be a game dump in February because it always seems like there's always a specific month that everybody's like, throw your games out there now.
Well, anything before March, before the fiscal year is up, that's just when the big stuff's going to come out now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Look at March. Like, we're just getting swamped by fucking games now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we got Titanfall this week. Dark Souls. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I love not to play Dark Souls. So I
yeah, like, Dark Souls. I
can get a couple hours. I respect the hell out of it, but it's like I don't want to put myself through the aggravate. I think I like myself too much.
Yeah, that's why I never have gotten into them, just because like I'm afraid a little bit to play the games.
Like, if you want to talk about like a good feature, just kind of like dip your toes into Dark Souls and just keep a journal and just like what it was like and how you felt when you first killed your first boss that killed you 100 times.
Yeah.
Those are great. It's a great feeling, but it's like it takes a certain type of determination to get through a Souls game.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because you're coming at it from the positive standpoint. Like, I like myself too much. With me, it's I don't hate myself enough to play these fucking games. I played Demon Souls. Remember when it was free on PSN? I played that, and I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? This is torture. I should like take a hot like fork and just jab it into my fucking ear.
It would have put the controller down because I had that same way in Demon Souls where I was just like. I'm like, this is fucking dumb. Why do I keep dying? And I'm there for another 6 hours playing.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm not dealing with Dark Souls.
It's just like self-flagellation, just like just whipping yourself in the back. That's the Souls game. But yeah, we Titanfall, Dark Souls. We got Metal Gear's next week, right?
Metal Gear's next week, and Infamous is next week.
Infamous is next week. But I mean, Metal Gear's only 2 hours, so you can just kind of...
Yeah, exactly.
So it's all good.
It's all right.
I think that I'm going to get as a direct download. Like, I don't think I'm going to need a retail copy for that. I'm just going to physically download it on my Xbox One.
Yeah.
But, oh man, busy month. I'm kind of curious to see what I saw some videos for. We posted up. They did like a live stream of Second Sons in London.
Oh yeah, Second Son. You know what? Since you brought it up, speaking about live streams, somebody was live streaming Metal Gear this weekend, Metal Gear Solid 5. And it's
I would not be surprised.
The funny thing is, if you go to Twitch, the first thing says you're not supposed to stream Metal Gear until the 18th, and then
I had that on Titanfall. The Twitch app got updated, so people on Xbox One can now broadcast their games, which is amazing. It's almost better. I'm gonna say it's probably a little bit better than that PlayStation 4 Twitch app, because this is super easy. You literally say Xbox broadcast, and the Twitch app comes up. The little sidebar has your camera looking at you, and the chat, which is amazing. So you can just sit there and read the chat, and if you're like, screw it, I don't need to see any of these people. They don't need to see me. You can unsnap it and just play the whole screen yourself. And the very bottom of your screen says you're broadcasting to X many people.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. So, but yeah, they immediately said you cannot Twitch Titanfall to March 11th. Blah, 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 blah. But yeah, but then I still saw like a channel literally just 50,000 people watching Titanfall. I'm like,
yeah, that's what happened with Metal Gear. It's like, don't stream. It's like, why am I watching 3 streams right now? And then one of these guys was from the United Arab Emirates. Maybe could get away with it over there. I don't know.
Your silly streaming laws don't apply to us, silly Americans.
Yeah. And I gotta say this about the streaming thing on PlayStation. It's fucking bad, dude. I was like, what is?
Oh, we lost Tony again. I love it.
We lost Tony again.
Best face ever.
Yeah, and I'm a Metal Gear guy. He sucked so bad.
Like your face froze before. You froze a little bit before because it looked like you were just sucking on like a sour Skittle for like 2 days.
Yeah, the guy was. By the way, when people watch this again, it won't be all that crazy. The guy sucked. The guy fucking sucked. It was like, isn't PlayStation supposed to have a feature where you could play 4 people? I wanted to do that for this guy. I'm like, give me the controller. I will play for you, dude. You are terrible. Ooh.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
There's some weird thing where we get to like watch people play. I think it's one of those features that just kind of like secretly disappear. Like, hey, remember the Kinect was able to like scan stuff and put it into the game, or that game where you talk to a boy or something like that. No one just talked about it after. It was like, nope, I don't know what you're talking about. No.
Oh, Milo, right?
Milo. Peter Molyneux, that guy's crazy. I don't know what he's talking about.
Peter Molyneux is the king of telling you stuff that will never come to pass. He will sell you on anything, and it won't happen.
I like people like that.
Even though they're flat out lying.
And you know what? It just gives you that sense of whimsy and hope. You're just like, oh man, I'm looking forward to next gen. You can fucking scan a skateboard. That's crazy. I don't know why, but yeah, I want to do that.
You can talk to a little boy on your TV screen.
Talk to a little boy who feels and grows up. And I was like, oh, I want to grow as a little boy that can really grow up. That's crazy. And I realized I don't want to do that. Like, it's creepy and it's dumb of all things. But,
I was like, can I play for you, dude? Like, is that feature available yet? Let me take control.
I remember that when it was announced. It's like, yeah, at any given moment, you can just be like, hey, man, do you need me to take over this part that you're playing? You're having difficulty in Demon Souls. Do you want me to jump in? I was like, all right, great. And I was like, yeah, they kind of never spoke about that ever again.
Yeah, I was telling my friend.
It was the reveal at E3.
Yeah, it was the reveal. That's where they said it. My friend Michael Crawford, who used to be on my other podcast, he is a big trophy guy. And I was like, dude, you know how much money you could make by getting trophies for people using this fucking app? It would have been insane, you know. But
I was never big on trophies, but now I trophies never had that appeal for me. But achievements, I think it's just the ding. I think if Sony,
some people are like that, yeah.
If some people used a better sound for the trophy and made it a little bit more prominent, like. I understand you don't want it to be in the way, but I love that a big fucking thing comes up on my screen on Xbox. It's like, you fucking achieved, whatever you did was amazing. That we need to obscure your vision. You got past the tutorial.
I was about to say that.
Wow. Holy shit. 40 points.
Yeah, no, I love that. I was a big trophy whore. I got 51 trophies. I'll let you know how committed I was. But when I became a game journalist, I had to stop, obviously, because I got to play a million fucking games. Anyway, another cool thing that happened. Strider was the best-selling PS4 game on PSN. That makes me very fucking happy.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah, isn't it great? Thief
I love a non-next-gen game becomes a selling next-gen game.
Yeah, it's great. It's like people care about gameplay. That's beautiful. So I just needed to throw that in there real quick because I love that game. And that was the first review I wrote where people were like, Tony, your review got me to buy the game. So I think I contributed somewhat to the success of it. Let me have my moment. All right. I want to talk about the Amy Hennig situation. Basically, they said that Neil Druckmann and one of the other guys forced her out. That didn't happen. Evan Wells came out. It's like, this didn't happen. We want to put this whole shit to bed already. It's ridiculous. What do you guys think about that?
I'm glad that they clarified that, because I know when those rumors are coming out, I'm like, this doesn't seem right, and it just seems like a lot of people trying to throw flack against Druckmann and Bruce Straley for supposedly doing this, but
yeah,
I'm glad they came out and said it.
Like they threw her out a window. Like
that's what it sounded
exactly.
like from the rumors.
Like the language was weird because they forced out. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. I was like, they
they literally push her out.
Was it like she came in? And, where the fuck is my desk? And what desk? You don't work here. It's like, excuse me.
Because then that drew a lot of rumors of people being like, oh, they're gonna take over the Uncharted franchise and blah blah blah. So I'm glad they cleared it up. I mean, they still haven't cleared up exactly why she was why she left, or what the reason was for it. But
we got the PR answer, and at some point I had to say something, because it's like, look, we need to respond because people are making up some crazy ass stories. So
I'm glad they did that. So
yeah, I mean, and she'll find work elsewhere. She's worked on a ton of great games. We've mentioned, hey, maybe she'll go back to Legacy of Kain.
Yeah, that's what I want.
If Microsoft is smart, they'll be like, hey, you should work on some of our franchises. We got a Halo game that needs it needs rewrites. Can you come help?
Exactly. And speaking about Neil Druckmann, he will be writing the Last of Us movie. One of those things again. Yeah, I like the fact that there's going to be a Last of Us movie. The problem is it's a video game movie, and we haven't seen any good video game movies ever. So, yeah.
The problem with the Last of Us movie is what made The Last of Us so good is you had this really touching story, but you were actively a part of it.
Yeah.
Like the whole idea, like take the opening sequence. Like if we were just there watching Joel deal with his daughter, I'm sure it'd be I'm sure it'd be rough to watch. But you know what? At this point, you're physically holding on to her. You're hitting up on the joystick to move. That has a bigger emotional impact than you do watching it. Because Watch Dogs, it was a great story, but the fact that it was, that you took part of it is what made it so well. I mean, I'm pretty sure if we just kind of sat back and watch Last of Us cutscenes all string together on YouTube, it won't hold the same weight that it would, which is what a movie is. A movie is just, when you think about it, think of it, it's going to be like a long Last of Us cutscene.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm pretty sure it'd be well done, well produced, but I don't think that weight's going to be there where it was like, no, I did this, I had to shank that dude over there. Like, I had to shoot the doctors in the hospital. Like, that's something you had to do. You weren't passive. This wasn't a passive experience. You were.
Yeah, but I think. Yeah, I think at this point, I mean, what you're talking about, it makes sense. It's taking some away, but I think at this point it'll be a small blessing if the movie just turned out good. Considering every video game movie that's come out, I think that'll be. Let's start with that. Let's make a good video game movie, then worry about the other stuff.
I'm sure it'll be fine. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. A lot of it comes, the big part's always the writing, but if you know a bit about movie production, literally the movie can fall apart at any given moment.
Yeah.
Regardless of how good the acting is, it could just be poorly edited, just poorly shot. The director could just be a maniac and decide, I want a lot more quick cuts. Why the fuck not? Like, it's like, so I'll just sit back and like, hey, if they're gonna make a Last of Us movie, fucking great. I will probably watch it. So let's do it.
Yeah, this is actually the topic of my next editorial I'm writing, which is about like video game movies and specifically the Last of Us movie. So yeah, you'll see some of that discussion probably coming up soon once that gets done. So
definitely, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, yep.
But we'll see. Hopefully, it'll be good, but I'm not. I'm a pessimist by trade, people. So I'm not expecting much. Sticking with Sony, Jack Tretton left the company.
Good old Jack.
Yeah, good old Jack, man. So, we wish him good luck.
Only executives I like.
Yeah, I liked him. He seemed like I would actually like to hang out with him. Some of these other guys I'm not too sure about.
He was good at press conferences. Like, he had this, like... He was there for, 19 years or something?
He was there since Sony's, PlayStation's inception, the first one, PlayStation 1. He was there from the beginning. So, yeah, he's a road dog, man.
Yeah, I mean, I loved his early days where he literally showed up and was like, "Hey, I don't know what I'm doing up here, guys. Sorry." Like, it was great. Like, and I was talking to someone before about likable executives, and it's like you think of Microsoft's Don Matrick, who was just totally not likable. He was like, he did not relate to his audience. He went there, thought he was kind of like hot shit. It's like, "Hey, I know better than you. You're gonna love this." Like, Jack Tretton was a little bit more humble. I mean, if he thought that, that's different. And it was just like, listen, I don't know anything about video games. I'm just up here because Sony asked. It looks cool, I guess. If you guys like PlayStation stuff, here you go. And then you saw like a kind of an evolution of him being more comfortable and then like really enjoying himself on stage and really getting excited over PlayStation stuff. Whether he played it or not didn't make a difference. But he kind of saw that like other people were excited about it, and he had good energy on stage. So it's really tough to find not only a good executive who can like run a company, but someone who has like a good PR face and like has no problem addressing the press or just holding big conventions and not look like just a robot reading a script.
Yeah, exactly. And this is another one of those cases where I would like to know what happened exactly. Why did he decide to leave? I mean,
he just didn't do his contract, so he probably just left like on a high note. It's like, listen, PlayStation's doing great. He goes, I can probably just get a better job somewhere. He goes, I can handle a bigger company somewhere. Like this is going to lead to another CEO job, and he's going to say, oh yeah, by the way, I launched this thing called like a PlayStation 4, and it's like, it's doing pretty well. It's like, I think he left if he was going to leave, he left at the right time because he left on top, and the company was not on fire, which is great. And good on you, Jack.
It's good he left now, not during like the PS3 launch or something like that. So.
Yeah, imagine having that on your resume, right? I mean, it's still on his resume, but it's still on his resume, but it's buried now.
Yeah.
Okay. The creators of South Park.
My favorite is still Steve Ballmer, though. Like just getting up there all sweaty and yelling and like I have no idea what Steve Ballmer was saying because you're always so distracted by just how sweaty and uncomfortable he was to be there. But he was super excited. He just fucking yelled all the time. And Steve Ballmer.
There you go. Anyway, moving on. South Park. Yeah, George, you kind of fucked me up there. Basically, this is kind of interesting. They said that video games are not a writer's medium. Now, if you look at it, it's like, what the fuck is he talking about? But then you actually read it, it's like, okay, comedy writing is not for video games. And they have a good point. Comedy is all about timing. It's a little bit harder to get that when the timing, is not really there because you have an open world where anything can happen. Character, person has agency. I hate using that fucking term, but they have control over their character. So
Why do you not like that word?
It seems so pretentious to me. It's like, oh yeah, this takes agency. It's like, oh god,
like that's a great word.
I don't know. It's just been overused.
Word started using recently. Like that word's been around. Like that phrase has been around for a while, but I feel like there was like a resurgence of that phrase of like player agency. I think like around when Walking Dead first came out, season 1, I heard that term started coming up a lot.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like a little burnt on it. So I'm like, oh, Tony, why did you fucking say that? But it's a good term.
It just means player choice. I mean,
player choice. Yeah,
it's a fancy way of saying player choice.
Yeah, but I agree with them, and they haven't been the first guys that said this stuff. Yeah, it's very hard to get comedy right. Tim Schafer's talked about this too a lot. How it's hard to get comedy in a video game because it's all about timing.
Yeah, I mean, like Double Fine comes to mind because a lot of their games are really, really funny, and they do a good job of that. So, and other than that, there really aren't too many other games I can think of that do that really well. Aside from maybe like Telltale, Telltale's done that pretty well too in some of their games, like Sam and Max.
Sam and Max are great.
Yeah.
Funny games, but
those
are adventure games. But I feel like they have more control over just pacing as far as like South Park's a little bit all over the place because you can kind of like do stuff in certain orders. But I feel like the humor in South Park works well in a video game because a lot of the funny stuff in South Park is just very quick one-liners. Or if it's kind of like these long-tiered jokes like Man, Bear, Pig, it's like, we started this joke. Oh, yeah, don't forget. We'll get back to it later. Like, it holds up well in that particular thing. But, we don't see that many funny games out there. Like, you think of, like, Duke Nukem, a game that was trying to, like, intentionally be funny.
Yeah.
Poke fun at the industry. And it just all fell very flat. But I mean, it also helps if you're gonna poke fun at the video game industry, at like video games, that you make a good video game yourself.
Right.
That's true.
Which is why I think South Park is really good because it makes fun of like RPG tropes and like fantasy game tropes, but in itself is a good fantasy RPG.
Yeah. Well,
that was my problem. Like I started playing Deadpool for whatever reason. And
why?
I had it on my Steam line. Try this. Like, how have I not played this game? And they poke a lot of fun. It's like, oh, you got to sit through another fucking tutorial. Yet you're in a tutorial. Like, what the? Like, you can't just make fun of a tutorial and put me in a 20-minute tutorial.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Oh man. Anyway,
Deadpool game's not good.
Yeah. Ryan, Keiji Inafune has something coming out for the 3DS. Tell us about that.
So yes, let me pull up the news.
Hey, you wrote it. I don't remember all that.
I don't remember all the details. So okay. So Keiji Inafune, he has a new 3DS exclusive coming out called Azure Striker Gunvolt. And Keiji Inafune is from Mega Man and Mighty Number 9.
Yeah.
And yeah, they released a trailer, and it's going to be an action platformer. It looks pretty intense. So yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. And I don't think they announced any release right now for the West, but it'll be coming out in Japan pretty soon.
I'm looking forward to it. It's Keiji Inafune, goddammit.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yep.
And then, go ahead.
Inafune.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's coming out this summer in Japan.
Nice.
But the West, there's no release date announced yet.
All right, and the last bit here, this is kind of fun. So Troy Baker wants to go head-to-head with Nolan North in like some kind of acting thing. And I find it funny because Troy Baker has now become the new Nolan North. He's in everything.
I think they're trying to get into the same game.
Yeah, that's what it is. They're trying to get into the same game.
That's too much.
They have been, though, because Nolan North was in Last of Us. He voiced one of the characters in there.
He's also in Batman.
That too.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. But I mean, if we
Penguin and Troy Baker was Two-Face, I think, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and they're going to be in the upcoming Batman game too. So.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, they've already crossed paths, but he wants to do like a buddy cop thing, you know.
Troy Baker versus Nolan North video game. I'd be down with that. Like,
that'd be great.
What happened, George? Say that again. What happened?
I said I want to see them in like a sing-off or something.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Nolan could he could sing, and you have Troy Baker actually playing guitar because he knows how to play guitar, and they make sure you know that in every game. Hey, by the way, I can play guitar. Like Noel and what's his face? Joel, I call him Noel. Yeah, Joel and Booker, they both play guitar, and their actor just so happens to play guitar too. Coincidence.
I think not.
I hate how we know like a stalkerish amount of information about Nolan North and Troy.
No, we're video game journalists. We're supposed to know this shit.
Yeah.
Yes. Video game journalists.
It's important that we know that Troy Baker like plays guitar and like really loves cats. Like.
Exactly. We got to let the people know this stuff. And that's actually it for the news. So let's talk about what we've been playing this week. George, we know what you're playing.
Deadpool.
Anything besides Deadpool or Titanfall?
No, lots of Titanfall that just kind of came out of nowhere. I really do want to get into a Dark Souls, but I'm afraid that I probably won't touch Dark Souls until maybe late April, until maybe the PC, when the PC version comes out, I'll probably touch it. But no, a lot of Titanfall, a lot of South Park, which I'm still really digging. So my conclusion is I just think Dave just is not a big fan of South Park, and that's the thing. If you're not a fan of South Park, you're just not going to enjoy this game.
Yeah, I could already hear people going, George, you should have reviewed the game, man.
Well, what's the point? I mean, and to me, that's an interesting take of like, hey, what if you're not a South Park fan? Then you're just reviewing a fantasy RPG, which is valid, and which is fine. But it's like, and he already addressed it in his review. It's like, yeah, if you're a South Park fan, you're going to like this game. So who cares what the score is? So
yeah, exactly.
That's fine. So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to get into a whole review score discussion, but it's like, who cares? If you're a South Park fan and you're told that the game works, so that's fine. His review says, hey, it's a decent RPG. It's not fucking broken, and if you like South Park, you'll dig it. And that's it. That's all the validation you need.
Exactly. I agree. Ryan, what about you?
So I just had my review of Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 2, that went up today on the site. So
check it out,
check that out. So I liked it a lot. It was really good. So.
How the feels? Are you okay?
Yeah, I was only crying for a little bit afterward, but I'm okay.
Bit.
I'm doing well. It's been a week, so I've recovered.
I haven't jumped on yet. I'm still waiting.
Me too. I'm going to wait for all of them to come out.
Yeah, I think at this point I might as well just wait for the whole season to come out.
Yeah.
But I hate not being part of the discussion.
Yeah, I'm surprised, because I think I talked to Diana about that. She did the same thing, where they waited. I can't wait for the episodes to come out, so I wouldn't be able to do that, to wait for the entire thing to come out. Because at this point, they probably won't be done until the fall probably.
Yeah, I mean,
so.
yeah, we'll be talking about the Game of Thrones games and like, oh man, episode 4 of Walking Dead and the first episode of like, I feel like we're gonna start getting into that territory where everything's just
oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm getting that same vibe with Wolf Among Us, where it's just like, fuck, I need this. When's episode 3 coming out? Like.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice now because now it's like, you know, when Walking Dead comes out, then like Wolf Among Us will be out the next month, and then Walking Dead will come back. So it's nice they've got this kind of schedule going. But anyway, aside from Walking Dead, the review, I also finished Yoshi's New Island on 3DS. My review's going up tomorrow. And then other than that, about like 2 hours ago, I bought Banner Saga, so I'm going to be playing that next.
Oh, geez.
So that'll be next. Yep.
Awesome.
Depressed.
Yeah. if
are dead.
I already got depressed enough from Walking Dead, so now Banner Saga is going to be my next one.
Oh man, as for myself, all right, so I'm playing Atelier right now. I'm going to be reviewing that. Don't ask me when that review's coming. It'll come eventually because I have.
What are you playing?
It's called Atelier, Eska and Logi. It's an RPG.
Is it Alteria?
Okay, I thought it was Atelier, but then in the actual game.
Is that's the Freaky Alchemist game? Okay, that was just like
it's the Freaky Alchemist game.
I was like, what? Like, what game is this?
Yeah, I used to think it was like Atelier, and then in the game they're like the Atelier. I'm like, okay, it's Atelier now. You know. I've never played a single game in this series. I never even heard of this fucking series.
Oh no! I reviewed I think the second game in that series, and it's a Japanese RPG.
Yeah, I mean I'll give you guys a little taste right now. Yeah, it's very different. It's not what I was like when I read the description of it. I'm like the main game focuses on alchemy. I'm like that doesn't sound very appealing because the whole game, the main core mechanic is you alchemize shit to make more stuff. It's like, okay. Our own Chad Ackerman, he reviewed the last 4 games in the series. He gave them all very high scores. I'll just leave it at that.
I feel like that game has a very niche audience, and if you're I feel it's one of those. If you're a fan of this franchise, you probably cannot wait for this game to come out. I think if you're a normal person, you're just kind of like, wait, how do you say the title? Like that?
Yeah,
that's where we're going.
So I mean, it's not bad. It's just you're right. It's a niche thing. And I can't say them now, but I'm expecting potentially 3 games that are coming out next week for review. So it's like, dumb. You know, that's a lot of shit, but it's gonna be cool. So and I'm trying to play Bravely Default wherever I can because that game is really fun.
Are one of these games a guy with an eye patch?
Yes. Yes. I'll just
a pirate game. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be doing a pirate game. And a ninja game, and potentially a smoky kind of game. I'll leave it there. Teasing. And that's all I'm playing right now. And what else? I want to go back to some other stuff, but you know, when you're reviewing games, you got to just stick with it. You can't deviate too much, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, I know that, man.
Yeah, dude, like when you say like I'm playing as a player, this is great. I'm like, oh, I missed that.
I know what you're saying. So like the good part about like getting my Titanfall review done is that like now I can just kind of like enjoy Titanfall, or like I can play Titanfall for like 45 minutes tonight and totally be okay because I'm pretty sure I played for like 12 hours yesterday and wanted to kill my. I was enjoying every second of it, and
nice.
I told you. And I found out the review will be up tomorrow morning, so keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had an initial score in mind, and then I actually bumped it up half a point because at some point at work today, I spent like a good 15, 20 minutes just thinking about Titanfall. I was like, oh, you know, I think this loadout worked well for me with the plasma rifle, the parkour. Yeah, that'll work. So I'm sure like you leave like having like positive thoughts about the game where it's like I'm gonna go back to the shit. I'm gonna have like the best loadout, and I'm gonna fucking jump kick people right in the face because that is by far my favorite thing to do in Titanfall is just rope-a-dope jump, and then you just do like a spinning jump. It looks ridiculous when you see like other people do it because it's like physically impossible to get a guy to spin like that. But man, when you just, it's super satisfying when you just kick a guy in the face and you just kind of giggle. It's like, how did that kill you? Like, okay, cool. Like,
that's awesome. You know, that actually reminds me of something. This is how you know I got too obsessed with Mass Effect. I would dream in conversation wheels. That's how you know I played a little bit too much of this shit, but I'm glad you're actually enjoying it. That's fucking great.
But yeah, you know? Titanfall's a great shooter. So I mean, if you have an Xbox One, this is probably the game you were waiting for. Kind of like how PS4 people were like, Oh, thank God Infamous comes out next week, because I really want games to play.
And Titanfall's on PC, so if you got a super PC,
yeah, I'm hearing the servers are a little wonky on PC, I'm hearing, but the game looks amazing on PC. So if you don't have an next-gen system, scoop it up on PC and just bask in the frames and the shit.
Bask in the amazingness that is Titanfall. All right, guys, so that's the show. Thank you for listening. I was staff writer Tony Polanco, and I was joined by Ryan Meitzler.
Metal Gear! Yeah, anyway.
Oh, man, of George Jimenez.
Guys, if there's anything in the world bothering you, the simple solution is to drop a Titan on it. That's it.
And this is why we save you for last, my friend. All right, guys, thanks for watching, listening. We'll see you next week. Peace.